questions I answer. Mondays at 1, they're here for you. Joe the weed guy and Farmer. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. So let's start the show.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. Broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to your Facebook page, look us up, or hit see first to see and hear all the great programs that we have here on WNHHLP. And just a reminder, Cannabis Corner is also streaming live on the Greenhaven Media Facebook and YouTube page and procannabismedia.com. So make sure you go over there, like, subscribe, share our content, and we'll see you all out there on the net. So welcome. It is Monday, March the 10th. My God.
March.
You know what happened? It was that time change.
That time
March
change.
the 10th.
It was Mario Day for all of us video game nerds because March 10th, that's MAR 10, looks like Mario. So Nintendo dubs today Mario Day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, here we are. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. Here's my illustrious co-host.
Your stoner fact for the day, you know.
That's it. And I'm your host, Joe LaChance, Joe the Weed Guy. So right. So today is March the 10th. Like you say, it is Mario Day. I did not know that, so that's a good little thing. You know, we have all these new days. You know, what is it, May the 5th?
Yeah, for Star Wars, you know.
Right.
These are
May the
stoner
4th,
days.
right?
May 4th, yep.
May the 4th. Gamer
Revenge of the
Day.
5th, yep.
And then we have, of course, 420.
Yep.
And then, of course, the little more obscure 710
Yep.
that people celebrate because oil backwards, right?
That's
a lot
right.
of people don't know why that is. But, yeah, it's interesting the way we come up with these little holiday dates, secret, only
little stoner days. And, of course, we're celebrating
Stoner and Gamer, which go together.
Yep.
Yep. So how was your weekend, Lou? I know you've been working your butt off over there at Nautilus Botanicals, and I was down there last week, and it's looking great down there. People are coming in, and I know you've been working. So
working. That's the goal we're at right now, and we'll keep pushing forward and keep trying to do what we got to do. But the biggest thing is, no matter what, just make sure you get your growing on, because this is the part of the year that you need to start getting those clones ready and have them seeds popped. And we're moving into spring, so if you are going to do yourself a little bit of a grow, of course this isn't official advice or recommendation or anything, but if you happen to put some plants out under the sun, you want to have
as
them
we get a little warmer.
That's right. You wait a little bit. We'll have that New England fall spring, but you definitely want to get your clones started in a nice little grow tent or something like that. You can set up a little. You set up. It's real simple. Realistically, you can set up something that doesn't cost
The
you
little,
much money.
little. They have those little things.
You can start with a dome. Even if you started with a dome, well, they have tents, but you can start with a dome with a supplemental
that's
lighting.
what I'm talking about, them domes, right?
Yep, with supplemental lighting. You just want to make sure to have a light source over it with a heat pad under it, and you'll be able to have a nice humidity dome going and get yourself rocking and rolling. Get clones established. Maybe even start some plants. Maybe you'll start some plants in some cubes, and you just need a little LED light over them. Even if you're putting them on your window, you want to make sure there's an LED light so that you get enough light so that they don't start to flower too early.
Yep.
And just keep that light, a little LED light or something over them. You can get the shop light LED or a T5 or something for
Home Depot,
less than $20. Yeah, Amazon, you can get a 4 foot stick or a 2 foot stick or something like that, and they're under $20 most times. So you can set one up and get you starting, and then that way you can have
and that's
a little
it. And we had Danny, one of the foremost experts on last week, and this is
told
what
you
he
how
was
easy
saying.
it was.
This is what he was saying. Start now.
Yeah.
Because by the time you do want to either move them outdoors or maybe change the lighting a little, you want them to be a little bit bigger.
You want them
You
hardy
want them
at
to have a
least.
nice size on them.
Yeah.
And now's the time to start them.
So,
And there's tons. And I talked to Duncan the other day. He's going to be doing the clone drops
yep.
with the genetic events. You always know we got Lupino out there who's got great genetics.
Yep. There's a lot
Get
of
your
really good
genetics
people.
now.
Yeah.
And now is the time. You also see the other growers and the grow stores starting to have some clones now. So
Yep.
even now you can pick up clones, not as many as there will be within, let's say, a month. But now's the time. If you're going to grow and you're serious about growing, get your head into it now. March, before St. Patrick's Day. Make that day your green day and get your garden started. That's our best advice, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No matter how you do it, with the clones or the seeds or whatever. And with that, there's a lot of good events obviously coming up regarding growing. But besides growing, there's we always talk about the season now starts to come up as the weather gets warmer. People start doing more events, and this year I wanted you first before we get into the other events. You have a couple things pop-ups coming up at Nautilus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell the people about that first. I mean, I think that's the most important. What do you got coming up down at Nautilus as far as little pop-ups and special events?
So we have some medical professionals that will be coming down and spending a little time here. We have Kevanisha Boyd, who is a great mental health professional, social worker, has a whole slew of services that they offer at their building. But what we're looking to do and what she is looking to do is make sure that she meets patients where they are. And that's kind of her saying. She meets the client where they are. And with her focus on plant based medicine and cannabis, she'll be spending some time here March 21st from 12 to 3 p.m. And she'll be doing free 15-minute consultations. So if you come in, you'll be able to, I think you're going to throw that up
Here
there
it
now.
is, right
There it
here.
is.
Yep, there it is.
So you'll be able to come on up, check her out, even schedule a time maybe with her, and have some time to speak to a mental health professional, which is a little different than what we normally have in a dispensary. We have our pharmacist that's here all the time, and your pharmacist can speak to you on different medicines that you got going on. Our pharmacists have a lot of experience in cannabis. We opted to use individuals that were not brand new to cannabis. So they've worked at other locations and they've worked at other places and they've made cannabis part of their everyday life as well. Kevnisha has made cannabis one of her everyday life things. It's something she focuses on. She's something she educates on. She has accredited courses that she does for the mental health space. So, if you come on down, you'll be able to schedule something with her or you can schedule it with us. And this way you can get to talk to somebody for free. That's the biggest thing. Or if you do need
Yep.
some of her services, she can refer you over to her business. And it's that first step to come into a place where you're comfortable. We have a private consultation room where you'll be able to sit and talk and kind of go from there. And then following that up, we also have Uzma coming up after that. I believe that's April 8th. And with that,
Okay, yeah, I don't have a graphic for that
we
one,
don't have one ready just yet. Yeah, so that's the
Okay,
next
so
individual.
we're focusing on health then
Yeah,
today, health and wellness, which
health
is
and wellness.
because a lot of people don't know that you are a hybrid dispensary.
Yep,
So not only are you servicing the adult use market, you are servicing the medical patients, and you want to make sure that all areas are covered. So Uzma covers a whole different aspect than
yeah.
just the medicine. It's more of a
Holistic,
spiritual,
spiritual.
holistic type of
Yeah, relationship with plant and self.
yeah.
You kind of find, and I've gone to her
I have as
as well,
well.
and,
I have
and a
as
lot of
well.
people have, and she's got a large client base throughout the state. She currently speaks at a couple of dispensaries, so she does this. We'll give those shout outs to Nova Farms. Uzma
Yep.
also does it at Nova Farms. She also does it at Butter. She's done it at Fine Fetto. So, it's something that these practitioners are definitely making their way around the state, making themselves accessible for patients where patients are. So it's pretty cool to continue doing that. And then, we
Yeah,
have
Nova Farms, speaking of them, they have their grand opening.
they have their grand opening coming up soon as well.
Oh.
That's another social equity owner, and we really love JT.
That's
He's
the 22nd.
he's a good dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
Jay's
put a
cool.
lot
He
of
came
work.
to our grand opening. He
That's right.
supported us.
He put a lot of work into his space, and we're really excited for Nova Farms to come online as well.
That's the 22nd. That's the day after Kibnesha, so you can
Exactly.
do both.
We can kind of do a little bit of that, and then we also have our really old school OG host, co-host with us, Kibra, is going to be opening up in a couple months. Lit New Haven,
April, I believe she said.
April.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about everybody kind of starting to come online. It's taken a very long time. It's tough with the products that we still have, but we also still advocate for you to grow your own. And
Exactly right.
There's a
And,
lot of options. There's a lot of space. There's also a hearing tomorrow up at the Capitol. I want to make sure to help spread that knowledge. So shout out to the Canna Warriors for bringing it to everybody's attention. There is a bill that's going in, and it's not necessarily a cannabis bill. This is one of those ancillary bills that just has a big impact on cannabis without directly kind of saying it. What they're proposing is to remove words from legislation, and the words that they're looking to remove are a lot the smell of cannabis, or the presumption that there is cannabis or money in proximity to cannabis in a car. So there doesn't have to be any proof of this. The police officer can just guess.
Yeah, and this is totally against.
Right.
We made sure, and I know because I was in on this process, that the smell of cannabis was not a reason for pulling over. Now they're trying to pull that back, is what you're saying.
Correct. And that's a tough thing.
Because they're not getting enough cannabis tickets, I guess.
That's a tough thing because that implicates anybody who works in a cannabis business now.
Yep.
Because I smell like cannabis just by walking into my vault. You know what I mean?
Yes. Anybody
we
who
have
just left the
cultivators.
dispensary
Anybody who just left the dispensary could fall under that. Not that it's a huge odor that comes out, but just traveling with their medical bag. They now have their paper bag with medical products. There's going to be a smell. These are qualified patients and qualified adults that are using the plant legally, and it would open them up to unreasonable search and seizures, which are considered illegal right now. But with this new rule, they would be considered legal.
Yeah, this is the problem with the state. They go backwards instead of forwards, and they've done this with the hemp industry. They've done this with the adult use market. They've done it with medical. They impose so many restrictions and so many rules that they end up going backwards from where they started. And it's ridiculous, and they don't realize, and I hope they do, because I saw the article that came out about 2024's earnings and profits from cannabis, and they're the lowest they've ever been. So I hope they understand and see this is what they're doing. They're not making the money from the sales. So now they're trying to get it in the back door. By getting tickets and arrests, and now they're going to get court fees, right? Because now they opened up a new channel for ways that they can bust people and arrest them for something that they made legal.
Right.
It's just so ridiculous to me.
They're
clowns.
They over regulate a lot of the time, and that's a conversation that I've
all
heard.
Of the time.
I've heard it a bunch of times, like, oh man, we overregulated something. I'm going through our talk. I read the policies and procedures for cannabis pretty regularly so that I can stay as in the know as I can. Then they get updated regularly. And these policies and procedures have things that are just absolutely
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is it legal or not?
And then is it even that it's legal or not, or is it a policy? You know what I mean? So now there are things that can arbitrarily be changed realistically.
Right.
But
Depending on
it's
the mood of the officer, depending on which one it is,
right.
then you get with the same way with the booze,
Yep, yep, yep.
where they
So
can
we
let
don't
you
want
go if they so decide, or they can really nail you if they
right.
decide.
So we know what usually happens. So the
Yes, we
idea
do.
is yeah. So if you can go ahead and submit some testimonies or something like that. I'm in the process of getting my testimony written up. I
Yeah, I'm
can't
gonna
go
write
up,
one
but I
now that you
write.
told me
And
that.
it's not a huge thing. You know what I mean?
No,
We tell
mine
people
will
all
be
the
very
time.
simple.
It's simple. They're short. They're easy, and then just make sure that they're well verbaged. And I know that any of our past guests and friends of the show can help you do this. If you need any information, feel free to reach out to them. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yes, and I agree. You can reach out to the Canada Warriors or the CCSBA. Both of them are really on top of the legislation this
Hmm.
year. And if you want to get involved or just write a testimony there, I know the Canada Warriors have been sharing the link. So please, yeah, do that. It's important because it could affect you as a
Yeah.
consumer.
Yep.
This could be any Tom, Dick, or Harry who smoked a joint and
Yep.
got in his car. That doesn't
Yep.
mean you're smoking
Or
in the car. You were smoking home. You got in
yep.
the car and drove.
You may not even be stoned anymore. You might not have
Yep.
any trace of anything. You could have smoked a joint yesterday and you're wearing
Your
the same
clothes are still
jacket.
smell. Right,
You're
right.
wearing the same jacket. You pulled a sweater out that you know what I mean. You were
Yes.
at a bonfire or something, and now you're not even. Now it's not even cannabis. Now you just smell like smoke. You
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
ridiculous.
So
Oh God. See, this is why I can't do it anymore. Look, even my testimonies lately have been like, "You guys are idiots. What the hell is wrong with you?" You know, I swear to God. So it's tough, and even now as I'm listening to this, it just makes me crazy, like how backwards a state we live in, and but it's
it
just
feels like the state's got some of the worst ideas of what's important,
yeah,
and we're
making
seeing it.
money, thriving,
Yeah, we're seeing it.
supporting your citizens, supporting your constituents, helping them thrive, make money so they can pay more taxes to you.
Right.
Stop taking money from
And
them.
everything is taxes, and they really do imply a lot of taxes. And we were looking at that last. We talked about that article
Oh
as well.
God.
Just the way we tax cannabis is absolutely absurd, and they're
Yeah.
looking to add even more taxes on top of it. There's a
Ridiculous. The testing cost, the licensing cost, everything is just
and the
outrageous.
biggest thing is they gotta help. There's a lot of licenses. I don't want to say a lot. There's a few licenses that can still come online that can really help
Yeah.
lower the cost of cannabis as a whole because of the whole supply and demand portion of things. And the problem
Right.
is, with still the same cultivators, there isn't the supply and demand matrix keeps things really high, and it's tough. You know what I mean? So once some of the new micro cultivators get online, the larger cultivators like we'll have a fine fettle. Section 149 coming out too. We have a
You will.
Shangri-La. We have a Nautilus. We also have a nice legacy legal brand coming from Maine, Ripple Cannabis. So they're that homegrown as well. So from Maine to Massachusetts to Rhode Island and now in Connecticut. Um, so Ripple's another brand that's going to be up and running. So we're talking, 5 new growers, and that's going to double the amount of cultivators in the space. You know,
That'll
um,
help.
that'll help a lot.
In
With
the
multiple.
meanwhile, the state has to now during this session, I really think they have to correct some of the mistakes they've made in order to lower the cost now,
Oh yeah.
in order to lower some maybe of these taxes, some of
The
these
fees,
restrictions.
the
Yes.
testing, then on top of it, the whole idea of that whole supply and demand matrix, it kind of keeps those larger cultivators still pushing. So it
Yeah, they have to be more
forces,
on their toes because they're going to
you
have
know,
competition.
they're going to have competition now, and you see prices of certain things drop because there's so many people, like gummies. There's so many people
Go
making
many
gummies,
gummies out there.
so
Oh,
many gummies, and you can pick up a medical cannabis gummy for between 10 and 15 bucks, 100 milligrams now. But that's because there's so many gummies on the market.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joints are starting to come down to that
Yep. Pre
ten
rolls are
dollar pre
coming
rolls are
down.
starting to come down to that $10 mark. Where hey, that was it's $10 for a pre roll and it's tough, but that's
That's
standard,
comparable depending on what you
right?
get on the street. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Um,
no, it's a slow process. It's unfortunate for guys like you who are just entering now, which I have to say is a little bit late for this
yeah,
current structure. You're more geared towards the future, where
hoping.
we know, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So it's a little tough right now. And it's tough for these independent operators to stay in business because of the way the state structured it.
yeah.
And I hope they do make some changes to alleviate that burden a little bit, but.
Well, you know who is doing their part though, Joe? Our good friend Mark over there. I
That's
read a
my, you were just about to do the same segue I was doing because if you want to know about regulatory and you want to get some really, really good advice from tons of experts from all different areas of the industry, the best place to go, and the best place really has been to go for the last 10 years, is of course NECAN, the New England Cannabis Convention. And with us right now, we have Mark Shepard, of course, who is the founder, president, and owner of NECAN, New England Cannabis Conventions. And NECAN has been developing engaging conventions for the cannabis industry since 2014 and expanding market opportunities for businesses, entrepreneurs, investors, educators, patients, advocates, and consumers. We feel our approach of creating unique conventions focused on the current state and potential of each local market we come to is a superior alternative to the generic national cannabis convention franchises that pop up everywhere. Rather than focus on what the cannabis industry can do for us, NECAN takes a collaborative approach with the local industries and communities for our conventions, which has resulted in consistently high returns for exhibitors, sponsors, attendees, and the local cannabis market as a whole, allowing everyone to benefit and grow.
hmm
Mark, how are you today? Always a pleasure to see you and always a pleasure to talk to you. It's my favorite time of the year. Meat can.
yeah, Nika season.
It's,
I'm doing great. Great to see you, Lou. Great to see you, Joe. Quite a promo, Joe. I couldn't have said that better myself. We got to hire you to be a promotional guy for us.
absolutely.
Good
You know,
stuff.
I'm always open.
You know what
Always open
else?
to help you guys
You
out.
know what else I got there, and this is one of those facts a lot of people don't know. Mark's events give away a lot of booths to social equity owners, advocates. They give
Nonprofits.
nonprofits. He's given away. I saw a stat there, Mark. Maybe you can help repeat it. I don't have it in front of me. How many? You're almost up to X amount of booths by at least 2029. I think something like that.
We're over 400 now, and we were
Yeah,
smaller when we started doing it, and so we think we're going to hit over 500 within the next before 2029.
that's amazing. That's a lot of booths. That was a lot of people that you're helping spread the word, and doing that for those social equity owners and advocacy groups and nonprofits is absolutely huge. And that's literally putting your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? So, kudos to you, and thank you so much for supporting those individuals.
Yeah,
No,
that's one thing
it's a
I
pleasure.
always appreciated was that you would always give away. You understood the importance of the nonprofits, the veterans groups, all these things,
hmm
because they're an important part of the community as well. They help build the community. Without advocates and nonprofits, we wouldn't, we wouldn't have a community. So
Absolutely.
kudos again. Thank you to that. And I don't think people realize you're probably one of the only conventions that does that. So
hmm
Yeah,
that is,
it's funny because I think it was never a question to us because the way we built our model was from the local out. Traditionally, if you're doing a convention, the whole idea is like, how do we get the five biggest players to sign mega sponsorships? You reach out to all the companies that can afford to travel around the country, and it's kind of like a traveling roadshow or a circus. You get those 80, 90 big players. Oh, they're coming to town. You put up the banners for a couple of weeks to do the show and leave. We decided to try to get the local people first, and then figuring if we got all the local people in one room, the big people would want to be there and they'd come to us. And
right.
if you're not going to make it easy for the people, the victims of the war on drugs, the social equity people, the advocacy groups, if they're not in the room, you don't have that room.
Right.
So you've got to make it so that everybody can be there.
And that's what I don't. A lot of people don't realize that from the start, there were no big players.
No.
2014, and I know because I was there. There
They
were
were all on
no
the West
big
Coast.
players, right? And so the foundation were local businesses, local advocacy groups, normal, Masscan normal, big part of NECAM for years, and because we helped, that I believe, building from the ground community up, rather than, like you say, these big guys who would come in and just bring in a ton of national sponsors, and then the local guys got second. And whatever you got left over,
Right.
we'll let you guys have. But we're
If you can afford it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can afford it, because these big guys can afford a $10,000 booth, so we're making our booths $10,000. And I just think you have it backwards when you do it that way.
Yeah, and it's proven that way, because what I like is the longevity of a lot of your vendors. Like, these are people, I go there and I see the Healing Rose, and I see Janet, up there from the hippie chick. These are people who have been there from the start. Cushley from Connecticut, right? They've been coming up there and supporting NECAN from day one.
Yeah.
And they're still there supporting, and that's one of the beautiful things. Even though they've all moved on, to different. Janet doesn't even live here anymore.
Right.
But she'll make that special trip up here for NECAN, because for me, NECAN in this area in New England is the one and only convention you need to attend. No matter what area of the industry you're in. You could be a grower, but there's something there for you. You know what I mean? You could be a dispensary owner, something there for you. Consumer, something there for you. A small entrepreneur, somebody who wants to start an ancillary business. There's something there from you. And that's what I like, is that knowledge base. Besides the exhibitors, and the atmosphere is always electric. It's exciting when you go there. There's the educational component. Right. And I was looking over the list this year, and it's really expanded a lot. You're covering every single area from top to bottom.
You had to rent all the rooms.
I mean, this is a very impressive lineup when I look at it. Like, there's nothing you don't cover. Compliance, and then you got growing. And here's one thing I did notice, Mark, this year, and I'm very happy about it. There's a lot of focus on the psychedelics.
Yeah, we actually committed to do an entire track, and I actually reached out to a gentleman very well known in the psychedelic community, Jack Gorsland, and hired him to put together, a 2-day programming track of psychedelics. And I'm not well versed in it, so I had to actually look up a lot of the people that he's got. But I'll tell you, if you know anything about the psychedelics world, or you're interested, take a look at the programming track he put together. It's dynamite. It's the real deal players and knowledge base that's just so impressive.
And then that's what I like. You understand the fact that this is the next frontier. Right. This is going to be the next frontier, and just like with cannabis, and there's no big players in the psychedelic industry. No. So right now it's advocacy, activists, engaging, the community, and that's important, because at NECAN there's going to be huge turnout. And I'm just looking at legal psychedelics. So they're covering not only just psilocybin, they're going to cover canna, kava, blue lotus, I'm sure kratom. Yep. There's a whole panel on that. So if you're interested, besides in just psilocybin, you can learn about that. And then decolonizing psychedelics. So how does it intersect? With the various different medical, with various different aspects. So this is great. And this goes over both days. So it's spread out. And, this is what I like. And which sometimes, for somebody who's new or has never been to an NECAN, or is trying to absorb, the whole thing, it can be overwhelming. It can really be overwhelming.
It definitely can. And my advice to anyone who's going is, you can have fun if you just show up and wander around, like just like I could drop you off at the front gate of Disney World and you'd have fun. But if you do your research and you plan ahead and you make your schedule, you'll just get so much more out of it. You can reach out to exhibitors, you can look at different places where you want to be, make your programming schedule, reach out to anyone in the industry. Everybody's going to be there, and really plan ahead. We even have a page that's got, I think right now, up to 17 after parties and events listed.
Yeah, I was going to look at that. Matter of fact, why don't I go over to that page? But I'm looking at the presenters. You got a great list of presenters on there. All kinds from all over the place. And a matter of fact, what impressed me most is that your keynote this year is psychedelics.
Yeah,
you have a psychedelic keynote speaker.
Just it's an interesting thing because that is one of the challenges. Because when you're picking up a keynote, it's funny. A few people will be happy about what you picked, but most people will be like, oh, well, you snubbed this. And I'm just like, well, you have to pick something, and doing something for 10 or 11 years, and you want to be local. Sometimes you're just trying to find something new, and this one was just so easy. It's like, okay, this is a very new thing. We had the vote go in November that didn't go, it didn't legalize, but I think a lot of times the first bill that goes maybe isn't the right bill anyway, and the interest is still there, so it's the right time for it.
No, I agree, and that's what I say. You're on top of the trend, and I think people want to hear it now.
Oh, they do,
because it does, like you say, Mass just. It didn't pass, and we have the same thing in Connecticut. We have one up as well, so it's starting to become an issue around the whole region, and that's the important part of it. Whether it's national or not, it affects. Here we go. Events and parties. That's what I want to see, because I was impressed. Like I remember, used to be one after party, that you went to, but now we even have one Thursday night. Which is sponsored by, I believe, Hub International is doing one. Our friends over there at Hub International.
Yeah, we're doing one too at Lansdowne Street on Thursday night as well. We're actually hosting one Thursday and Friday. We typically don't do that.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Typically, you don't.
We don't, but we had a partner that our hotel partner. That's part of their business model, and they said, we should do it, incorporate it. So we're going to give it a try. And one thing I know. The interesting thing is people say, oh, well, this after party, that after party. I'm like, all right, well, there's 10,000 people there. None of the venues hold more than 200 people. So you really need a lot of them in order to just have everybody have a place to go.
You have a place to go, and you could bop around. I mean,
people bop around. That's why I said if we're going to do them, we're going to make sure that we advertise and promote all of them. Because what if everybody showed up to ours? We'd have to turn 90% of the people away.
Yeah.
So we want them to know where else to go.
So you got two going on. One Thursday night goes from 8:30 to 10:30, and then it's the same on Friday, I would assume.
Fridays at
5 to 7. No, I see 5 to 7.
Right across the
That's
street
like more like a happy hour.
Yeah, that's kind of like, hey, you just got out of the show. You don't want to go to your hotel. You want to eat something. You want to chat with people. Meet me over at King's. We'll have a couple of drinks. Obviously, everybody's going to smoke outside.
Right.
It's on kind of a dead end block there. It's perfect for outdoor consumption. There's no traffic. And there's bowling and there's pool and there's games and, fun stuff.
Yeah. And then I see you got a nice blunt brunch with in the women's lounge. That's both Friday and Saturday. So that's in the morning.
Yeah, they're actually, the Blunt Brunch ladies are actually going to host the women's lounge all day, both days. So the women's lounge open all days. It won't be programming the whole time, but they have 3 or 4 sessions planned over the 2 days. They've been doing it for a few years. They're so good. They do speed networking.
They're great.
Mentoring, education. So happy to have them hosting the women's lounge for 2 days.
Yeah, that'll be. I hope I can get in and take a look and at least say hello to the ladies.
Yeah, I'll have you thrown out. You can peek, Joe, but we'll have you thrown out. That's okay.
That's all right. I'll wear a wig.
That's right. Yeah, probably
I know they're all my friends.
That's right.
But then I see you also have a nice queer and cannabis after party. That's Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, so many people. Like, obviously, we're not affiliated with any of these events,
there's
but it's
tons.
Just so good to see. So, just a diverse range of events.
Oh yeah, I mean, Fenway Park. Then you got that big Sensei one.
Yep.
That's, I guess, would you say that's the official after party is the Sensei
I
one
would actually
after
say it's
Friday
not the
night?
official because if I do, then because if I say it's the official, I'm legally liable if anything happens.
Right.
But I'm kidding.
That's
I mean,
the
that is
big
serious.
one, I guess.
But the last 2 years, Nova Farms has done the big concerts at Royale, and those were official. This year they passed it on to Sensi, and we weren't able to work something out, so that's why we're doing our Kings, another one. But that's like the big event. I mean, when we talked about how many people, like that place will hold 800, 1,000 people.
Right.
The one difference, it is a charge to get in this year. It was free the last 2 years, so hopefully the message gets out to people not to just show up without a way to buy a ticket.
Right. And that's why you have the alternative one if you want something a little more chill.
Yeah.
You can actually talk to people maybe and network a little, get some business done. Then you go to the smaller one with the NECAN after parties.
And that's
again, you bop around.
Everybody's in the mood for something different. There isn't one perfect after party. There's some people want to cut it loose. Some people want to just chill with friends. Some people want to do business, and you want to have options for everybody.
Right, and I agree. And I think you brought up a good point that this coming to NECAN, you can make it a party, which what I usually do, but because I've been there. I mean, obviously, I've been going there for years, but I always pop into certain educational panels when I go. It's like you got to take in the full. I would say right now it's almost a 3-day experience if you want to get there Thursday, and especially if you're an exhibitor, there's tons of stuff to do when you're hanging out.
And you have to move your stuff in. So all the exhibitors are in town Thursday, and
right. And so if you go to some of these parties, you might run into an exhibitor before the convention, get some business done, before the hustle and bustle of competition with other people and all that. It's worth the expense, the investment, I would say, in your career in this industry to go check in on Thursday afternoon or whatever, take in some of these Thursday night events, get acclimated, and really, like you say, plan out your next 2 days.
Yep.
Look at the website. I'm looking at the website now, and I'm going all around it. Everything you need is on this website to know, when the speaker times are, who's exhibiting. You can make a hit list of who you specifically want to see. I mean, it's important. You go to the NECAN website, you click on the Boston event. Everything you need to know is there. And I know, especially once you do register, you get another email back with all the info. You guys have great ways to track the exhibitors, right? With the QR codes, it's very easy to get all their info. If you really plan it out, you can make it a really, really productive trip and still have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. It's time for both. Just sleep beforehand, hydrate during, sleep afterwards. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, and the only thing I could say is the atmosphere there when NECAN is in town is electric. Like you can walk into that area by the Heinz Center and where all the other activities are happening. It smells like weed. I mean, there is a convention going on there, and I think it's great, especially with Massachusetts, especially with NECAN being the first pretty much convention in the area. I think it's great that we finally established a place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a gathering place, and this convention specifically really covers the whole New England region.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's Massachusetts, it's Vermont, it's New Hampshire, it is Maine, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, and even a little bit of New York. People come over. So you get all aspects of the industry. And, this is obviously not the only NECAN convention, and you do move around in other states, but I noticed that you still keep that same attitude of building from the local ground up.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes you, even though you started here, you're able to move around the country because the model works so well. And we've seen other people come and go.
Yep. Oh, sure. In 2019, I tell people there were 5 conventions scheduled in the Hines, in the
That's
cannabis
right.
industry. 4 of them in the first quarter of the year, and you know,
Now we're
and now,
down back to Nikan.
yeah,
The
and
cream always rises to the top, Mark.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of factors, but I do think that you carve out your niche, and if other shows have a successful niche, then multiple shows can succeed.
Yeah,
There's no reason why multiple shows can't, but you have to bring a value that makes you, indisposable, and people have to say, well, even if I go to this other one, I have to go to this one, and it's our
that's right.
job to constantly update what we're doing and make sure that there's value.
Yeah, and if you have a choice between the two, Nikan is always going to be the first choice because you just have to, you have to go there. It's almost like a must if you live in this area, if you're from New England. It is a must every year. I did want to bring up real quick on Saturday, the big, I guess, event is the Cup.
Yeah.
The Cannabis Cup, Nikan Cannabis Cup. Comes up on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you've expanded it over the years. This year's very, very big. Last year I was I was a judge.
Yep. Yeah, it's I do it in conjunction with Mike Clinton, as I'm sure you know. He's been doing it with us since the very beginning. He's just has just such a great model. And a couple of years back we split it so that there's separate categories for licensed grows and home growers. So just so the idea that, like, if someone's winning a category, if there happen to be 100 entries on the license side and only 5 or 6 in a home grow in one category, we still want to recognize the best home grow.
That's right.
So we have them separate there, and then we've also added a really cool component, the best dispensary competition, where we have a secret shopper kind of program, where it's almost like a restaurant critic. We've got people going around with a checklist, and they rate the dispensary experience. And we kind of give out awards to the people who get a 5-star, and then we name, the one dispensary that got the absolute highest rating across the board from the secret shoppers, which is pretty cool.
I think that's great. It kind of establishes a little bit of not only feedback to the dispensaries themselves, but the opportunity for the cannabis community to speak out and really express their opinion. And it's like another little award that the winner can actually put up, and say, hey, we won the Nikan Best Dispensary.
Right.
So
and it's, how else, it's word of mouth right now. It's very difficult to advertise. It's hard to establish yourself. If you're new, how do you tell people you're great? You can run ads and say we're great, but it's nice to have vetted critiques, like I say, like restaurant reviews, the same idea that how do people hear about you? They had somebody went in and said, hey, this place is cool, you should go here.
Right, exactly. And I think it's great. It gives them a little accountability too, because now maybe they're going to be a little bit better to win that award, It'll give it a little prestige. I like it a lot. Now, is this for Mass only, or did you include other states?
It is for Mass only.
But eventually, I'm sure it will expand.
It's so difficult to do it multiple state. I'm just like, we're doing separate events in New Jersey,
right,
and New York, but to try to do it in New England, I'm just like, we just weren't able to do it.
and it makes sense. And I want to really give you credit, and I want to thank you for doing this. I noticed that, I think it was the last 2 years, you've eliminated the awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for that.
I have to be honest with you, Joe. I'm disappointed.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean,
and I know why you did it, and I'm sure disappointed in the reason you did it. Is that more what you're saying?
I'm disappointed that having having a for fun poll to just recognize people doing work in the community caused so much discord, and I'm sorry, jealousy and poor sportsmanship and whatever, that it wasn't worth doing. And I get that there were times, I don't know everyone. So there were times when, let's say a universally disliked bad actor got on the list. I mean,
it's easy to do. I mean, if you know how to manipulate the system.
but they get on the list because people voted for them, which means some people disagree and think they're nice. But in the end, just to the amount of calls and emails and texts we get from people that I'm just like, you didn't complain until you weren't nominated. So you can complain, but
or somebody you didn't like.
Let's say I'm
wasn't
mad I
nominated.
didn't get nominated, and then I can say I don't care. But it just became not worth it. I just I really just wanted to get everybody in a room and celebrate and cheer and whatever. We didn't make any money on it. There was no sponsorships. It was a lot of bandwidth. But I'm just like, if people are just going to complain, we just won't do it.
And that is a shame, and it kind of just shows, and maybe someday in the future the industry will be a little more settled where it's not so competitive and cutthroat. A lot of it may have been the timing of when it was, during the industry, when everyone was fighting for their place and all that.
Right, and people just took it too seriously, I think. That was what I always said. I go, guy, you're sitting there and you're calling me up and complaining it's a popularity contest. I'm telling you it's a popularity contest. That's what it is. Don't, you know what I mean? Nothing comes with it. It's an online vote. That's all it is. What are you getting so worked up for? Who cares?
Right. And I know personally.
But people care.
I noticed that was probably the last year. There was. I unfortunately happen to have been involved in one of those, and it wasn't fun, and it kind of made me think, why the hell does he bother? Why?
And in the end, I'm saying I'm not that disappointed because it saved us a lot of time and energy. But the people who did win those and got a spotlight on them and got attention and maybe got noticed and felt appreciated, I was like, I'm sad we don't do that anymore. I've had a lot of people over the years thank us for that or say, wow, that was terrific. That was such a great moment for me. We really appreciate it. And we go, yeah, I'm sorry we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's when I say disappointed. That's really the only part I miss.
Yeah, and the only other way to do it is by committee, like the Academy Awards or something, and then it's worse, right?
Exactly. Then you would get endless arguments over who's qualified to be a judge
on the committee, right? Exactly.
Right. It wouldn't even get past that. The people that suggest a committee to me, I'm like, yes, and of course you would be on the committee.
Yeah, you'd be the head of it.
You would be the head of it, and you would decide who else is worthy, and everyone would agree with you.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're better off, Mark.
Better off.
And you know what? I did notice that you were able to put more effort and time into other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's made the convention itself overall better by taking away that drama. Let's be real, that dramatic aspect.
You're right.
Yeah, and now instead of that on the Friday night, you got some good after parties. You got, so I think overall it's for the better, and it makes it more of a community event, and it takes away all that friction.
Agreed.
Yeah. So the thing. So let's say we're almost out of time, but if there was one event, one thing that you say people must not miss at NECAN this year, something new or something really innovative or cool that they need to see, what would you say it would be?
Well, there's a couple, not to be a bum about it, but the two things we already talked about, the psychedelics. I think
right.
That's huge. But if you're not interested in that, you're not. Another cool thing we're doing is there's a group that's called the Weird Brains, and they also have Dustin Powers from Future 420. Just an amazing collection across the spectrum of the industry of knowledge and networking. We're giving them the award stage where we do the Cannabis Cup on Saturday. We're giving them that stage on Friday, and they put together their own programming, and you can see that on the schedule. And they just have a really cool, out-of-the-box set of sessions, and it's in the lounge area in the right-hand hall, so you can sit at a table. That's the food options are over there. It's a casual atmosphere, but there's also some really great content. And then right next door, the old man of the mountain is going to have a gigantic inflatable terpene tent where you can go in and sample and experience different terpenes. So that area is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. That's Friday night, Friday afternoon?
Friday all day.
Oh, wow. So make sure people check that out. And that's in the main stage at the award stage.
Well, the way it is this year, this is an interesting thing. We're all upstairs this year. We've always been downstairs. And then last year we had a third hall upstairs because it was
right. I remember that. Right.
First time ever, all three halls are connected upstairs. and that stage and the terpene tent are in the right-hand hall, but it is all one continuous space.
Oh, so it's all one floor now.
Yes.
So once you head up the stairs, you don't have to head up anymore.
No, you have to go up one more escalator to get up to where we are, and then all the programming rooms, the registration, the exhibitors, the stage, everything is contained on that one floor, which is really convenient.
Yeah, that's great. So that's a big improvement over it.
Absolutely.
So those are the two things. Make sure you and I guess the keynote speaker with the psychedelics would be something definitely to check out. So those would be the two things: the psychedelics track. Check out at least one or two of the classes on there, the lectures, and the special exhibit at what are they called now?
Well, there's the Good Life Gang and Future 420.
Right, and the terpene tent. Okay, that would be cool. That's Friday all day over by the awards stage.
Yep.
And that's all on the upper floor. That now, NECAN official start is Friday at 10 a.m., right?
Correct.
Exhibitors come in Thursday night, and there's some events for Thursday night, little pre-parties. Friday all day from 10 o'clock to 5, is that correct?
Yep.
And there's a ton of different panels. Please make sure you check on necan.com and click on Boston. Plan your event. And then Friday night, the parties and all that. You wake up Saturday, 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the cup is at noon?
I think it is. It might be at 1 o'clock, but I think you're right. I think it might be right at noon.
Right. Yeah, the awards cup. Yeah, NECAN Cup Awards 12:20.
12:20. There you go.
Okay.
And that gets very crowded.
Yes, that is one of the big highlights of the event. Again, this is something that you should take the time and do both days.
Yeah,
I really want to get the full experience.
You really can't walk a 300 booth exhibit hall and visit a session or two in one day. You can't, and that's why we're really moving towards just doing 2-day tickets, because you can't, you really can't do everything in one day. So we're encouraging people to make the effort to get there both days.
Yeah, right. And you can find an Airbnb, and there are some hotels that are giving special deals for the NECAN. Yeah. You can find all that on the website. Now, before we sign off, tell us a little bit how they can get you on social media, the website, the best way, get in touch with you.
Just go to necan.com, which is necann.com, and you'll get tickets, the schedule, the map, links to all our social media. You can sign up for our email. We don't share your email list. We don't do paid email blasts. We just send information, unsubscribe anytime. But necan.com, that's the one-stop shop for everything.
Right, and to follow you guys on social media is always good, because you put out special posts of special, the different panels and things like that. So if you want to know, so make sure you follow NECAN on social media, LinkedIn also as well, and like I say, I can't stress it enough. If you want to be in the cannabis industry, or you already are in the cannabis industry in the New England area, this is a must-attend event. If you're going to go to any events this year, make sure you go to NECAN. Get all the, and if you're a member of the press, they have press passes, all kinds of things. Make sure you get up there. And Mark, I want to thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and spending time with you. I am looking forward to seeing you on the 19th, right? No, the 21st.
21st and 22nd. I mean, 22nd. Maybe I'll see you on the 19th, Joe. I mean, if you're in Boston. But I might be. The 21st and 22nd.
Yeah, I know. I got 420 weekend on my mind. That's the next big one. Yes, 21st, 22nd. Heinz Center, Boston. Make sure you check them out, necan.com. Mark, thank you very, very much. Always a pleasure. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Joe. You have a great day. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Harry. I want to go over a couple of events before he hits that music. We have on the 29th, Kimura is doing We got a wellness education series, mushrooms, meditation, and massage on the 29th. Charter Oak in Hartford. Check out Wholeness House. She's got like things coming. Harry, I'm ready to roll. Hit that music. All right. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Signing off. Take care next week. We got a great guest, the Healing Road. Here we go. I gotta have that music. Like, share, subscribe, follow me at Joe the Weed Guy. Follow us at Greenhaven Media. We love you all. We'll see you soon. Take care.